Welcome, friends. Let us together rebuild this world so that we may live, laugh, and lore.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Not listening. I'm not listening.
Oh, that took.
Program loaded and ready.
Make it so.
Welcome to the Live, Laugh, Lore podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Tony.
And I'm Mark.
So, today we have a pretty exciting episode. It's going to be new beginnings. So, this is kind of a format that Mark and I came up with, where it's just kind of like, not necessarily deep dive, but it's like, hey, you know, more of an introduction to one of our other franchises that maybe one of us or both of us have seen. And it's just kind of our way to kind of approach to you guys and saying, hey, this is like, you know, the gist of the show, or, you know, this is the environment they're in, or the, you know, and, you know, events that are kind of happening, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a taste and see if you guys are going to jump in head first.
Yep.
And then also it's great for us because then, you know, you guys can reach out and say, hey, you know what I mean, what's this? And talk about episodes. Kind of like how I'm doing with One Piece, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Gives us a chance to go down memory lane, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, One Piece is not memory lane. That was just to reach out. But yeah, the memory lane is a lot of fun. And this one, Mark, is memory lane. I know you're way more into this topic than I am.
This is like core memories for me, Tony. All right?
I know. And my core memories is probably watching you watch this show, honestly. But yeah, so without further ado, this new beginnings is Avatar. Not the blue people.
No.
Well, there's blue kind of in his arrow, but, you know, no. Avatar the Last Airbender.
Yes.
Avatar Aang, or Ong, if you are a big movie franchise goer.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, I will talk about it. But...
Okay, good. I was about to say, I was like, that's live action. They did a lot on that. But yeah, so without kind of further ado, I'm going to, like I said, I've watched quite a bit of Avatar. I've seen the whole series. Mm-hmm. It's so funny, of all the different storylines I've kind of experienced and soaked in the life of Tony, I think this one I've like memorized the least.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'll hit points that I'll be with stride with you, but I'm very glad we have the shaman Mark to walk us through, because I think this is one of your big bread and butter. I mean, this is like your Star Trek equivalent. So I'm very excited. So we just got done with that Star Trek episode. Now we're doing this one. It's fantastic. So this is memory lane for us both. So perfect. So Mark, I'm passing over the reins. Let's see what you got.
All right. So Avatar the Last Airbender. It's a Nickelodeon TV show from when we were kids, Tony.
Yep.
If you had to guess, when did it air? There was only 3 seasons.
Wow, only 3.
Yeah.
I would have totally guessed. Well, here's the thing. It's so funny. It reran so much.
Oh, yeah.
It
was a Nickelodeon staple for a long time.
It's like Friends or The Office or Big Bang Theory. Like,
and it's got
10 years later down the line, they're still, like, go to hotel and it's like airing, which is kind of funny. You know, if I had to guess, oh, man, I would probably guess like 2005, 2006.
Right on the money. So it started February 21st, 2005, my mom's birthday.
Dang, nice. Happy birthday. Well, she wasn't born in 2005.
Correct.
But
Correct. That'd be
so. Wait. What kind of parallel universe are we in?
Terminator. Sending them back in time, and you know.
Sigourney Weaver's in there. I don't know.
Yeah. That was when the first episode premiered, and the last episode premiered July 19th, 2008. Okay.
Only a 3-year run.
Only 3 seasons, because we'll get into why.
Okay. All right, but that's actually, for as much as not a cult classic, but as much as the impact this series has on the community, I'm shocked that it's only 3 years.
Yeah. So I was super into the show. I've seen all the episodes many times. I don't remember the day in 2005 when like the first episode came out. I probably didn't watch it, but I remember July 19th. Because
the last episode?
I was so excited for the last episode. It was summer break. It was 10 days before my birthday.
Nice.
You know, it was one of those moments where we still had commercials and me and Paul were watching it. If you go to the bathroom, you know, you're like, it's back on, it's back on. You got to come back, you know?
Go. Back, that's hilarious to think. Or like the commercial breaks where you just like looking at your boys, like brothers probably at that point. You're like looking over and you're like, dude, I can't believe that happened. And that episode was fire, dude.
Well, it was a 4-part finale, Tony. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. So, let me break down the world. So, what do you remember from the world, I guess?
Back when the Fire Nation attacked. Yeah. The intro was always very classic. But so basically what I remember the world is that there's basically kind of more or less, almost like very much like Avatar, Naruto, where it's just like these like warring factions. But instead, they're kind of like these nations that were kind of divided by bending abilities. Which is kind of different than Naruto because like everybody has, you know what I mean. Maybe I should, let me break this Naruto connection because I don't need to go that deep into it. Just like power level, you know what I'm talking about. Like their ninjutsu is kind of the same in the Leaf Village versus the Sound versus the Water. But okay, I'm not gonna let me break that off really quick. But whole point is that there's basically these nations, and these nations are not necessarily, but they are like tied to bending abilities, right? So you have earth, you have fire, you have water, you have air. And then you get some funky ones. I mean, lightning is kind of like that's a offshoot.
Subsets, but you have the 4 main ones.
But those are the 4 main ones, right? And so, and then blood. Oh, hey, how you doing?
Subset of water.
Classic. But I will say that of those 4 nations, they're kind of this prosperity, and then the Fire Nation attacks. But the whole shtick is that there is an avatar who is able to master all 4 elements.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of where, like, if I had to preface that with somebody, that's basically how I'd say it.
Yeah. So you're right, exactly right. So there's 4 nations. They're almost all island nations.
Which is like, that's what I was saying. There's like not much, there's not much diversity. There's not much, it's not really a melting pot. It's like, these are the earthbenders, and they're like all in this one area.
Yeah.
These are the water tribes. Well, they call them water tribes. So like the water nation is tribal, almost like nomad.
Yeah, so there's like, I'm going to about to explain the difference.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So there are 4 nations. So there's the air nomads. Okay, that's what they're called.
Yeah.
And they dwell at the 4. It's almost like I was going to say 4 corners, but it's more like a cross because it's the Northern Air Temple, Southern Air Temple, Eastern and Western Air Temples. Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because like they're nomads, but they have defined temples. Yeah, I mean it's like
so kind of they're not really they're mountains, so they're kind of an island, but they're separated
up in the clouds.
So,
right? I always thought they were like
separated by ocean, so technically an island, right?
Yeah.
But they are up in the clouds. Typically, you can only get there by airbending. I mean, they don't get a lot of visitors up there. You know what I mean?
Or you get Napa hook you up. But
Yeah. You
also,
got to be
like,
flown up there. Yeah.
It's got to be cold.
So all these nations are inspired by like real cultures. From history.
Okay.
So the air nomads are based off of like Shaolin monks and Tibetan Buddhism.
That makes sense.
Very much like Dalai Lama-esque, right?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at their garbs and look at how they seem more not like more religiously inclined than the rest of them. I don't know why, but like they just have that like very reverence to them when it comes to, and they're literally called a temple. I mean, those are the main area. So
there's also a little bit of Hinduism in there, like chakras and stuff. The guru, I think he's in the Eastern or the Western temple. He was teaching Aang about the
chakra points.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
is that what they called them? That's what it's called in Naruto. But is that what they called them in Avatar?
I think they're just called chakras. You got it. The something chakra. Yeah.
But yeah.
And then there was like a point that you had internal thing to unlock the chakra in your body. Yeah.
Anatomically, there was a barrier or something. But
But he couldn't do the last one. He couldn't,
I know.
earthly attachments. Just like, Anakin couldn't let go his,
yeah.
But Aang didn't turn, though.
Yeah,
we'll make that very clear.
We're going to May the 4th. Yeah, we're recording right around that time. So
yes.
Yeah. But yeah, you'll have that. I mean.
So next you have the Earth Kingdom. And the Earth Kingdom is certainly the largest by land area.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean, they're just making land.
So the Earth Kingdom has an Earth King. Okay. No, he's the king of Omashu, which is a city within the Earth Kingdom.
You're actually blowing my mind. I legitimately thought that was the capital.
No.
Wow.
It is a major city.
Okay.
In the Earth Kingdom.
But
the capital is Ba Sing Se.
Oh, okay. All right. That name rings a bell.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And this is a side note, but like in this world, all the animals are like a cross between all of our animals. So
okay.
Like Appa's a flying bison. He's not just a bison, right?
Yeah.
Or a flying lemur.
Flying lemur, yeah.
But the Earth King has a pet bear. And everyone thinks it's weird because it's just
a bear.
Yeah.
It's not crossed with anything?
Nope. Just a normal,
Yeah, that's funny.
Bosco. His name's Bosco.
Oh, okay. All right.
But anyway,
There's a few characters I remember, and that Bosco's one of them.
Yeah. So the Earth Kingdom is based off the ancient Ming and Qing dynasties of China.
Wow, okay.
So much so that the Ba Sing Se is based off of the Forbidden City, which is like the capital, like the palace in Beijing itself. Like Beijing, China, like real.
Kind of crazy that they went like not crazy, but like it's so interesting how much Asian influences there are. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they were taught that in school. They're like, hey, remember, this is exactly like the Earth Kingdom.
Well, that's why this Avatar was so huge, because it took a lot of anime roots, but mixed it with American cartoon styles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like an American anime, and it's on a lot of levels the first of its kind. I mean, it was
1000%.
groundbreaking, right?
Oh, for sure.
But anyway, so back to the Earth Kingdom. So the Ba Sing Se, there's 2 main islands for the Earth Kingdom. Ba Sing Se takes up quite a bit of one. I mean, it's a huge city. I mean, there's walls, and then there's pretty much an outside village, and then the inner where the higher ups, and then the very inner is where the palace is, right?
Yeah, I remember.
But you could be a pleb living on the outskirts of Ba Sing Se and never see the. I mean, you can see it, right? But never get close
never
to
be
it.
into it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because that's when they did the whole they're riding on those stone. Or was that in the Boomy's town? I just remember the scene where they're riding. Him and Boomy used to ride on those sleds.
That's an Omashu.
Oh, it's an Omashu? Okay,
Yeah.
I thought that was Ba Sing Se, but okay.
No, the only reason Team Avatar gets into the higher levels of Ba Sing Se, because they don't have any IDs or anything, but they had Toph, who's from a well-known Earth Kingdom family. That's the only reason they were allowed into the inner city.
Oh, okay.
Because they tried to, and they're like, do you have money to get in here? Or do you have an ID card?
Yeah. Who
They're
do
like,
you know here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
who's
the
the
Avatar.
ID?
And they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Go kick rocks. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, this blue arrow,
You're right. And then the other one is all desert, and that's where that creepy owl lives in his library, Washington.
Oh, dude.
The Siwong Desert.
Yep.
So, there's an oasis there, but there's really not much going on in that island, right?
Yeah, wasn't that inspired by the library of Alexandria? 'Cause,
Yeah.
It ended up sinking. So,
Yes. Yeah. 100%. So next you have the Fire Nation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only one that's really a nation, but that's just a series of volcanic islands. I mean, there's literally a volcano on every island.
I assumed it was one huge island, and they were just around the same volcano.
It's like an island chain. It's kind of like Hawaii. There's
Okay.
several, but I mean, more islands than Hawaii.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In fact, it's actually more like the hook from Alaska that's going toward Russia.
Oh, yeah.
But inverse. So it's
Oh,
more of it's like a top of the circle, top instead of a bottom of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But several island chains.
Well, you're right on my geography knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you went one deeper, I would have been, all right, Mark. It's not on the wrist board. I don't know it. Yeah,
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
gotcha.
And so they're based off of, well, their military is based off of Imperial Japan. The way they march, the way they look. Not their
Okay.
masks. I don't know if you remember their helmets and
Yeah,
stuff.
but like the shoulder pads
Yes.
and
Yep.
okay.
All that.
Dude, that was the sickest Lego set.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? Oh, dude, the Fire Nation Lego sets were huge.
Mm-hmm.
You step on that pad, Johnny, though.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah. But the architecture in Fire Nation cities are like ancient China. So a little merge.
Wow, a
of
little like
Asian.
melting pot. Yeah.
And then finally, like you were alluding to earlier, we have the water tribes, clearly based off the Inuit people who lived in polar regions. So you have the much larger northern water tribe and the much smaller, almost gone, southern water tribe.
Yep.
And there's some reasons for that, which I'll discuss later.
Perfect. Yeah.
But the northern water tribe, very much, it's almost like a kingdom. I mean, it's like an ice kingdom up there.
yeah.
And the southern,
Built up and-
southern's like a settlement, essentially. I mean, that's really what it was.
Yeah, and I can't remember, were they close to each other, or was it like quite a trek to get in between the southern and northern?
It's literally on the opposite end of the world. It's like North Pole and South Pole.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was like, landlocked, but that's not, you know what I mean? Like far away from each other.
So you have North Pole, South Pole, right? The northern and southern water temples are in between. Mm-hmm. Or northern and southern air temples, I think I said.
Yeah. Air temples, yep.
Then in the middle, on the left side of the map, is the Fire Nation Islands, and on the right side is the Earth Kingdom.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So that's just kind of how the map's laid out.
Yeah.
Maybe we can post a picture of the map
Yeah.
our post so
That'll be-
listeners can.
Yeah, I'll post, yeah.
So like you said, members of these can bend their respective elements.
Yep.
But there's also a bunch of plebs that just
Because
are
not everyone's
normal
a bender.
civilians. Yeah.
Not everyone's a bender.
Right.
It's kind of a, I don't know if they ever talked about it. Is it genetically passed down?
Yes.
Okay. But
And
you can also have squibs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, or squibs as in, Harry Potter term, meaning you can both parents be benders or one parent be a bender and still have offspring that is bending and not bending.
Correct. As far as we know, from just Avatar the Last Airbender, there's follow-on shows, which if we have time I might talk a little bit about.
Yep.
But as far in this show, the only way to get a bend ability is to have a parent who is also a bender.
Gotcha.
Now, there is a chance that you could have two bending parents and their child not be able to bend.
Yep.
Rare, but possible.
Yeah.
But if you have
Sokka's
two,
not a bender. He's a sister to
correct.
Katara. Katara's a bender. So okay.
And their mother was.
Oh, it was on the mom's side.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was dad. I don't know why. Okay, mom.
But if you have two non-bending parents, then you will not be a bender. Yeah, just
There's nothing
there's
in the
not-
water.
yeah,
nothing in the water.
yeah. So if you want to elevate your status, you got to marry a bender, right?
Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah,
But-
there's a little politics going
But the
there.
bender runs the risk of not having a bending child. So
Oh, so you're almost guaranteeing, benders. Well, yeah. And now we're getting to natural selection.
right.
Darwin would be proud, but yeah, maybe not. Yeah.
So, like you said, there's only one person that can bend all four elements, and that's the Avatar.
Yep.
That person is reincarnated immediately after the Avatar dies. It's kind of like the Doctor from Doctor Who.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they are born into each nation in a cyclical order. And it goes water, earth, fire, air. And that's the intro to the whole show.
Oh, so after Aang is water.
Yes.
Oh, Korra.
That's why Korra, the next
it's
show,
water.
starts with Korra.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow, I wonder if people playing their kids are like, hey, times
Avatar's
is
getting
ticking.
old,
Yeah. It's hey, Pope's not getting any younger. You
yeah,
know what I
right?
mean? Yeah.
So, Tony, what element do you think you identify most at? Which one would you,
Oh man.
if you could choose?
If I could choose. Now, is this me like personality type, or is this me like I could? It's like the Sorting Hat where I can choose Gryffindor if I want.
Yeah, you can choose whatever you want. Yeah, I don't have any personality
okay.
traits or anything.
Oh yeah, well I mean I would think I'd go air 100%.
really? Okay.
Dude, the ability to take out his glider and just fly everywhere, and the airball alone, transportation alone is just so sick. And I think the other ones are slightly problematic. Like, can you imagine being an earthbender and like, you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be zoning laws or something because like that Earth's got to go somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's more Earth created, so that kind of gets a little funky. Fire's probably my second choice. Water's kind of second. I mean, water's cool, but I don't know. It'd be if I did. Sorry, now I'll literally give you my order. But yeah, if I had to choose, it'd be air, fire, water, earth, probably.
Really? Okay.
But air's number one. I wouldn't even think of the other.
I'm a big Earth guy. I do Earth. No doubt
Really?
about it. Yeah.
I think
it's so versatile.
I'm too logical about it. I'd be too scared. Like I shoot one rock pillar up, and then all of a sudden, like there's a earthquake in Tibet or something. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, shoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Well, it's crazy because like they were talking about geothermals. We're actually when we went to New Zealand, there was a little bit of a geyser there, and they talked about how like every single geothermal activity with those geysers like affect each other across the entire Earth, right? So like if something happens across the globe at oh my gosh, what's the famous geyser in America? I don't even remember.
Old Faithful.
Yes. Yeah, something's going on there. It will affect the New Zealand one. They're like, dude, it's crazy how interconnected these are. So that's why I'm like, I don't know why I feel like I shoot one stone pillar up and I'm something's.
Well, Tony, this is a make-believe world. Throw logic out the
Yeah,
window.
if I had to throw logic out the window, Earth is sick. Earth is
Yeah.
sick, and the fact that you can like the not like telepath, but the fact that you like the fact that Toph can basically use echolocation almost, and like 3D build up the world around her through the vibrations of the Earth is like sick.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a very, very, very unique skill. If you could learn that, that'd be awesome. But yeah, Earthman, I could have maybe guessed that. What's your second then?
Second would probably be fire. I mean,
Okay, yeah, that's a gimme. That's sick. Yeah.
I'm not a healer. That's what water's good for,
Which also that kind of adds into a lot
Yeah.
of, you know what I mean? Like, why is it healing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's water, right? You
Yeah.
know? I don't know.
So we kind of hinted at it, but the subsets for all these. So firebenders,
dude.
some this is not guaranteed for all firebenders or anything like that,
Yeah,
but can bend lightning.
that's the sickest one.
Earthbenders can bend metal. Some. It's actually discovered by Toph, who's Aang's teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But then she has like a whole police academy in Legend of Korra.
Really?
Yeah, her daughter starts a whole...
Doesn't Boomy bend metal too? Mm-mm. Just Toph?
Just
okay.
Toph.
I thought Boomy did too, but...
lava bending, also a thing. It's kind of a mixture.
Okay.
But that happens in Korra as well.
Oh, but not OG. I don't
not
remember.
OG.
Okay, I was about to say, I remember metal. Yeah, the metal.
But air really doesn't have a subset.
No.
Yeah.
They have blood bending for water. Sorry, that was the other one. Yeah.
Blood bending and healing.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay.
Yep. So.
Which is funny because those are like two sides of the coin.
Yeah. Right. Good and evil. Yeah.
Yeah. Air doesn't really have anything. I mean, there's not really anything they can do.
I mean, you can use it for evil. You can steal air for someone's lungs.
Dude,
but
that'd be wild.
Yeah.
Someone laughing a little too hard at a joke.
One of the villains in Korra does that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or attempts to, and then he's stopped. And then,
okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
I was like, dude, that's... That's also, we have to keep in mind, this is a child show. Yeah,
Korra is a little darker.
Young adult.
Because it was made for the viewers of Avatar who were like 8 and 9 when Aang, The Last Airbender came out. So.
And there's only... So one quick thing that I'll be talking about for kids, and I do want to bring it up. I remember this one meme specifically for Avatar. It's kind of like the Batman meme, because he's like, I don't believe in killing people.
Yeah.
But like, he like breaks their spine. He's like, dude, you're better off killing this dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's literally going to eat...
His quality of life is... Yeah,
he's going to eat all of his meals out of like a metal straw. But Aang says the same thing at one point. He's literally quoted, he's like, I've never killed anybody. Like, I will not kill people. But like, he's in the Avatar state, and it's with the Fire Nation, and he like does that huge tsunami wave and like washes all these people out in the ocean. And someone's like, dude, like you killed those guys. Like,
yeah.
But as a kid's show, you know what I mean? Like, it was very, it was pretty edgy for a kid's show. But there wasn't like any like overtly crazy, violent or like killing like that. You know what I mean? So yeah. So sorry, that was a long answer to the original one, but I think the one that meme always makes me think back. I was like, basically, Aang's the Batman of Avatar.
Oh yeah.
But then also when you think about bending, I think air's probably my.
So speaking of the Avatar state,
yes.
So we said the Avatar is
sorry,
reincarnated.
I keep jumping ahead. Sorry, my dude.
No, you're good. It's leading right into it.
Perfect. Oh, I don't see your notes, so I'm glad I'm feeding you. Yeah.
So the Avatar state is like I said, the Avatar is reincarnated cyclically when they die, right? Mm-hmm. So the new Avatar has no memory of his past lives, him or her, and has to relearn all the elements. So they start with their own element, and then they go in that cycle. They have to.
Oh, really?
Water, earth, fire, air.
Oh, so that's where Aang learns. Yeah, it's in that order, right?
Yep. And Korra, the last one she learns is air. It's actually the hardest for her to learn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know they had to learn the elements that way.
Yeah.
I thought it was only the cyclical nature of the Avatar itself. They learn it that way
too. It just proceeds. It's a natural progression for them. And so
are they going to study that?
The Avatar's main role is peacekeeper throughout the world, right?
Yeah.
Because he or she can bend all 4 elements. So theoretically, very powerful person.
Mm-hmm. But you also understand the nations, right? You have a better understanding. You are literally walking in their shoes to learn that element. So you should have some, Yeah. You got a hand in a cookie jar.
Yeah. So not only are they super strong, but they also have it's a flight or fight response called the Avatar state.
And it's very fight.
It's very fighty. And they glow and they float. Mm-hmm. And basically, they get all the power and all the memories from every previous Avatar into one.
Which is huge.
Unstoppable. However, they're the most powerful, but they're the most vulnerable in this state. If they get killed, the line of Avatars cease to exist.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful when you use it. When you're learning, you can't control it. But that's one of the things you have to master as well, is to go in and out of the Avatar state at will.
Yeah, to control it, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I forgot. That was a whole sub point, too.
Because he almost died in the Avatar state, and it was a whole thing, but he didn't die.
And I also forgot, too, the previous Avatar was Fire Nation.
Avatar Roku.
Roku.
Avatar Roku. Before him was Avatar Kyoshi.
Okay.
An Earthbender.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Before him was Avatar Kyoshi's the girl. There's a water I can picture him, but it was a water tribe guy. Yeah.
I was about to say, Mark, if you're about to do like it's like watching someone do 100 digits
Yeah.
of pi. I was like, how far back can you go? I was like, oh my gosh.
I looked to see if
I was
there's an official.
real impressive.
I looked to see if there's an official like list of avatars.
Yeah.
But you have Avatar 1, who was the first one. Then it's a break. The next one is the previous airbending avatar before Aang. That's how far back it goes. So you have the airbender, the waterbender.
Oh, so there's a huge
Kyoshi.
gap. Okay.
Well, of like, obviously there's avatars in there, but they're not named, right?
Yep.
So theoretically, there's a lot of space to play in there.
Oh,
right?
okay, gotcha. But I was about to say there's a huge gap. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, yeah.
okay, yeah.
And this is like thousands of years, tens of thousands of years.
It has to be,
right?
yep. Because when they show they literally have these little mini clips, and it's like a whole line of people.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, what? Yeah. Dude, that'd be such a sick spin-off show.
Right.
Just like, whoo.
So, okay. So let's talk about how the show starts, a little history,
Yes.
how it opens. So we start with, we see all four elements, and incidentally, it's the four previous avatars.
In the title sequence?
Yeah, when they do.
Oh, wow.
When they do.
I thought it was just the same actor doing it in the background, but it's the...
It's the avatars. Then when they say water, earth, fire, air, this is the previous, and then Aang is the one doing air.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we hear Katara say, long ago the four nations lived in harmony. Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. And then she says a few more things.
Mm-hmm.
So, the world was in peace for thousands of years, Tony.
Yep.
All of a sudden, Fire Lord Sozin, who took power, he became Fire Lord in 58 BG. So that's kind of like how Star Wars uses BBY as their... It's like
Before
for the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
They use BG before the Air Nomad Genocide. That's year 0.
God, all right. That's one heck of a
And-
anti-meridian, post-meridian. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. All right.
So
That's a good threshold.
later in Sozin's reign, he decides he wants to rule all four nations. After the mysterious death of his lifelong friend, Avatar Roku, they were the same age. They grew up together.
Oh, okay.
Fire Lord Sozin knows the cycle, and he knows the next Avatar will be an Air Nomad. So what does he do? He launches an attack on the Air Nomad Nation.
Okay, I didn't know that.
The Fire Nation designed these new vehicles that could traverse mountains.
Yeah, the drills, right?
Yeah.
Oh, those are so sick.
And he did, and he took out all four temples. Now, the Air Nomads are a pacifist people.
Yeah.
So they put up almost no fight toward these. I mean, they defended.
Yeah,
they could, but they,
But they weren't
against
gonna
fire.
all
yeah.
out. Yeah.
So he.
Because isn't that the other thing too? Is like, do they have a Naruto like list where like fire's really good against air? You know what I mean? Like, you know how they have like the chakra natures, like basically like your perfect match if you want to fight. I don't think they have a
They don't
notion
have
of that. Okay,
No,
yeah.
it's just they're better fires. Fire's more deadly.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. You're fighting with air. What are you gonna do? You can either feed
Yeah.
their fire or you could blow it out. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So that's year 0. All the airbenders are dead. So
And this is what's the Fire Nation's leaders again? Is it Ozan?
Sozin, Fire Lord Sozin,
Sozin.
he wipes out the entire race.
Gotcha.
Most people think Avatar's dead, or the Avatar was never born because he couldn't be, because they're all dead. But Sozin knows it's an immediate reincarnation because he was best friends with Roku, and Roku told him that. And he also knows that he didn't kill no Avatar, so he knows the Avatar's out there somewhere. Yeah. So he searches the rest of his life, the next 20 years. No avail.
Mm-hmm.
And he dies. His son, Fire Lord Azulan, takes over in the year 20 AG, and he reigns for 75 years.
Okay.
And he did a lot of military victories in the Earth Kingdom, but he failed to take the capital. He almost did. His son almost did. Iroh almost took the capital, but then left the war.
Iroh was his son?
Iroh and Ozai are his sons.
Okay.
And Iroh was the top general, and he would have taken Ba Sing Se, but his son died in the war, so he abandoned his post.
Oh, what a great song. I'm thinking.
He also wiped out the Southern Water Tribe. That's why it's so small. He went and he ordered to have all the waterbenders killed.
Okay. Kind of jumping the gun, because that wasn't the next.
No, but
they're just trying to take out all the men.
so he knew that was the next easiest target.
Yeah.
He couldn't
Oh,
he
okay.
couldn't defeat the Earth Kingdom, and he didn't want to take on the Northern Water Tribe, so he took on the Southern.
Yeah.
And eliminated the Benders because that was the threat. So he landed all of them, at least he thought, but as we're going to see, one survived.
Yep.
And she's going to, be one of the strongest waterbenders known to man.
This side of the Mississippi, yeah.
So after Azulon died in the year 95 AG, under super mysterious circumstances,
Okay.
the Fire Lord throne was taken by his second son, Ozai, which most of the elders thought that was not what Azulon wanted. Azulon wanted his older son, Iroh, to be Fire Lord.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, Ozai is Fire Lord. Okay?
Yep. I get you.
A lot of fishy circumstances, right?
Seems like a lot of Ramsey Bolton kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. So Ozai...
But also at this point, like, Iroh's like, he's kind of out of it too.
So Iroh's, yeah, but he's still in the Fire Nation and he's still present for all this. But he doesn't speak up. He just lets his brother take the throne. Okay.
I thought there was sorry, my memory must be bad because I thought he was like just like this hermit. Like, nope, I'm now out of this. I've given too much of this Fire Nation of me. I'm gonna kind of lay back a little bit.
So he's not actively fighting, but he's more of an advisor to his brother.
Yeah.
He didn't really want the throne, so if his brother wanted it,
Perfect.
Fine.
Yep.
Ozai has 2 kids, a son and a daughter, Zuko and Azula.
Mm-hmm.
Zuko was born in this Fire Nation, right? He loves the Fire Nation. He wants to be just like his dad, who's the new Fire Lord.
Yep.
He's like 16, and he's invited to his first war meeting.
Mm-hmm.
He's so excited. Iroh, his uncle's like, you probably don't want to be here.
Yep.
Or if you do...
Sit down, shut up, listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zuko does not do that. He speaks up and embarrasses... He thought he just embarrassed a general, but he embarrassed his father. Basically, they challenged him to a duel. He punished Zuko and he scarred his face, his left eye, banished him until he could find the Avatar.
Which is,
At this point, was a fool. Everyone was snickering because they're like, he's been gone for 100 years now. There's no way. He's either,
You exiled your son.
Yeah.
You effectively have. Yeah.
Iroh then goes with Zuko because he sees him as another son because his own son's dead.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the start of the first episode.
Also, Ozai is voiced by Mark Hamill.
Yes.
Sick.
Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
Yes.
Do you remember Anne, who's George Michael's girlfriend?
Yeah, the British one. Oh no, George
kids.
Michael's.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
She's playing and whatever.
Yep.
She voices Katara.
What?
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah.
So before I go into kind of the first episode, it's not spoiling anything because it's kind
this
of
is all pre. Yeah.
Any questions on the history before we get to the first episode here?
I remember a lot of that.
And a lot of this was explained, through the show.
Through the show. That's the other thing, too. This is not given to you off the bat.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of that. I didn't remember the names. The Fire Nation names threw me off. I do remember the fishiness of the power gain. I also remember Zuko's plight.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little confused at Iroh. I thought, you know what I mean? Like, I knew the results. I just thought the meanings were a little different. Like, how he got there, right?
Yeah.
But that makes total sense, too, because he didn't want the throne. You know what I mean?
Nope.
I feel like he was just kind of very a kindred heart. But it's also kind of crazy hearing him do all that Southern Water Tribe stuff. Kind of forgot about that.
Azulon did, yeah. So.
Oh, that wasn't Iroh who did all that?
Iroh's father. Well, his father ordered the attack. Iroh was not in the Southern Water Tribe.
Oh, no, I know, but did he carry out his father's wishes?
No, Iroh was attacking the Earth Kingdom.
Earth Kingdom, okay, gotcha.
Azulon had other armies,
I see. Okay.
Troops go to the Southern Water Tribe.
I was about to say, I do not remember him, wiping out the Southern Water Tribe. I would have remembered that, I thought.
Yeah,
okay, good. All right. I thought I was going crazy there. Because I was like, dude, that's talk about a dynamic character, but a character with a past.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tougher pill to swallow. So.
And Iroh is my favorite character. I mean, he has the most character development. Well, I mean, he was always a good guy, right? But he really found himself when he was taking care of Zuko.
Gentle soul.
Disowning the Fire Nation, his heritage.
Or how he loved his nation, but he loved what they're currently, under the regime in which they're currently doing.
Yeah.
He was always very honorific of his nation, but,
He knew it had crossed the line.
Yeah,
His brother
yeah,
had
yeah.
crossed the line.
Yeah, and I think he was like the one where, like, especially when you're younger, you kind of try to establish a moral compass, or like more like a personality. He had such a laid back and like so much going on, and he was like, no, let's just take a cup of tea. Like he was always that kind of person to give you perspective, and I think as a character, especially when you're young, that's a really positive one to go after.
Yeah, and it's so cool. Like it's such a meaningful moment for him, and you see it. It's like in the last 4-episode arc. He almost took Ba Sing Se, the capital, but by the time of the final battle, it was taken by the Fire Nation, and he led the charge to free it from the Fire Nation.
Yeah,
and it was a whole cool thing that he like burned the Fire Nation flag to reveal the Earth Kingdom flag.
Yep.
It was like such a cool and he you could see how awesome it was.
Yeah. Change for the better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Iroh was my personal favorite, but he was always up there for me. I really liked him.
Mm-hmm.
Owl was the coolest, I think. I don't even remember his name.
The owl?
I love that owl.
Washington,
yeah. That or the Dragon Turtle, dude. Dragon Turtle was sick.
Dragon Turtle is awesome.
He was sick. He was up there. I don't know why these ethereal, otherworldly beings that talk really low and slow. As a kid, I was like mesmerized. I was like, dude, you cannot get me out of here. That or Sokka's girlfriend was sick. The one with the curved
The moon?
no,
you're
I'm
talking about
the,
Suki.
Yes.
She's one of Kyoshi's warriors.
Yes, the fan people. I was like, dang, dude.
Which,
this is
if
sick.
you think they're airbenders, but they're not. They're actually bending the earth with their fans.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah. I love them. They're cool.
The Unagi lives by the island there. It's a big sea serpent.
Oh yeah,
Unagi.
yeah. That or like the Thousand Face. I did not like. That was the first and only time I remember watching it and being like, dude, I am freaked, dude. I don't think I'm going to bed tonight.
In the spirit world.
I mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's the thing about the Avatar. They are the bridge between the spirit world and the human world.
Yeah.
And they can talk to spirits and go into the spirit world because the spirits have a lot of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually converses with some Avatar spirits in the spirit world, like Roku. The thousand-faced creature that Tony's referring to, I forget what his name is, but he is the face stealer.
Dude, yes.
And he's got a lot of information, but if you go into his lair, you can't make an emotion or a facial expression.
Because then he'll want it for his own.
Because he'll steal your face.
Hot, dude. And he's like a centipede thing.
Yep.
Hachi Machi, dude. That was like, whoa. I remember all of his faces were on his body, and I remember, woohoo. Like being because we're also like, this is 2005. We would have been 11
Mm-hmm.
ish. So that's what, 4th grade? 4th or 5th?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's, I'll keep you up at night. I'm just trying to figure out what color pencil I'm trying to do the next day. I'm
right,
not
exactly.
trying to,
Think about this giant centipede, right?
Yeah, I mean, golly. But, okay, so sorry, Mark, I kind of got you off the tangent.
Good.
But whenever you ask me questions, all my Avatar knowledge and,
this is
memories
good.
are coming back because I'm going like, oh my gosh. But, no, I don't think I have anything. I think all that stuff is exactly as I'm remembering. And now I think we're at the first episode because this is where we're going to answer the age-old question, what the heck happened to the Avatar?
Yeah. So
what did happen to the Avatar? Mark?
Yeah, well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
The show opens, it's about 99 AG. So not quite 100 years, but it's the winter of, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the Southern Water Tribe with a brother and a sister, Sokka and Katara. They are the two children of the chief, who's not there because he's fighting in the war. So Sokka is the oldest male there at 15, 16.
I never appreciated that, yeah.
And he is basically he thinks he's the acting chief, but his grandmother is really in charge. Yeah.
All intents and purposes.
Yeah. And so he tries to train the 5-year-old boys, right, to protect the village. Right?
Yeah, because the men of the village.
They're the men. Yeah. And Katara, who's the last waterbender of the.
Sorry, grandma. Is that dad's mom or mom's mom?
Dad's mom.
Okay, sorry.
And she's from the Northern Water Tribe, but she's not a bender.
Okay, all right. But it came from the mom's mom. That's why I was curious.
Correct.
Like the grandma. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And then mom passed away, right?
Mother was killed in that raid of the Southern Water Tribe.
Yep.
And she protected Katara and said she was there. She told the man that she herself was the last waterbender.
Where, in reality, Katara,
Yeah.
Dang, dude. Just like Lily Potter, man. Why couldn't she have had the sacrificial love?
I know,
Magic that
right?
separates, dang.
So, but anyway, the brother and sister, Katara and Sokka, were out fishing, and Sokka is doing what big brothers do and was poking the bear a little bit.
Classic.
Making Katara angry. Now, Katara is a very powerful bender, but very untrained, so she can't really control it. So she
Because no one can train her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she gets angry, things start to happen. She pretty much caused like a mini avalanche.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden this
orb of ice and
well, it's not a
snow.
glacier, it's
It's basically like a mound of ice. I mean,
Yeah. an ice. Yeah. It's basically
It's
it's
like
a giant sphere of ice.
Yeah. A cocoon.
Yeah. And they see it glowing and it looks like there's a person inside.
Yeah, and a very big larva thing.
Yeah. But it had raised and she didn't notice it. Sokka noticed it, but she was still doing her bending and it sliced it and it opened.
Yep.
And what
Cracked
comes
the egg.
out, this 12-year-old boy and his flying bison. Which
Dang.
they're like, they're in the Southern Water Tribe, Tony. It's basically like small town Ohio.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they're like, what is this?
This is a UFO.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to go on the Joe Rogan's podcast and being like, dude, you'll never guess what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on his tattoos, because he's got an arrow and he does some airbending,
Yep.
they quickly realize that he's an airbender.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like, stuff from Legends, Tony. It's been 100 years.
Yeah.
This is the first.
It's like the Jedi. They're like, dude, they're eliminated. Yeah. Because there should be no airbenders at this point.
Correct.
The Fire Nation hunted them down by 20 AG or something.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry. AG was the... 0 AG was when all the airbenders were gone.
Correct, yep.
So it wasn't even 20 AG.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, obviously, they ask him about it. So Aang, completely unbeknownst of the war, right? And he's just like, oh, yeah, I knew the Avatar, but it wasn't me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to be the Avatar. They don't know that yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, because he's a 12-year-old kid, and he knows but it's because he was alive when they were hunting him. So he understands the ramifications of being a Avatar.
Well, no, he didn't know he was being hunted at the time.
Well, he knew there was a battle.
No, not yet. He didn't know. Nothing had really started when he was growing up before he...
I thought he did that during the battle. When
Well, so the genocide happened right after he left.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, but I thought he was mid-battle when he decided to do the orb.
Nope.
Wow.
No, we're going to get into it in just
Sorry,
a second.
okay.
Yeah.
Jumping
my
ahead.
memory.
But my
Jumping
memory's...
ahead.
Yeah, my bad. My memory's bad. I really
Yeah.
thought he was, like, mid-battle. That's why he was like, dude, I don't want to be Avatar. Like, I just got my crap rocked.
So, like I said, he just quickly dispels it.
Okay.
And as he gets to know he goes back to the village with them and he gets to know the people. He's quickly learning that something happened to the airbenders, right? But he doesn't really know what happened. And he doesn't really believe them that he's the only Avatar, he's the only airbender left, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they find this old Fire Nation that was put up there by the last time the raid happened by the waterbenders.
Oh, what a great... I can envision this episode.
Yeah.
What a good episode.
And he's like, let's go check it out. And Katara's like, we're not supposed to go in there.
This is like restricted section.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no.
So they do, and of course they trigger their alarm system.
The flare. Ooh.
And who's out looking for the Avatar? Zuko.
Mm.
So Zuko goes, and he sees, with his telescope, he sees him airbending. He's like, I'm going to go to the Southern Water Tribe.
Mm-hmm.
He comes, Aang starts to feel bad because he knows Zuko's looking for him.
Yep.
Right. So he, he fights Zuko, deals with Zuko. But he has to tell Katara and Sokka the truth that he is the Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And he was ashamed because he left. He didn't want to be the Avatar when they told him he was the Avatar.
Yep.
A. B, he didn't really want to leave the Southern Water Temple. I keep saying the Southern Water Temple.
Yeah.
Southern Air Temple.
Mm-hmm.
Because his best friend and mentor, Monk Gyatso,
Classic.
he would have to be separated from him.
Yeah.
So, afraid of his responsibilities of being the Avatar and afraid to lose Monk Gyatso, he flew away on Appa. There was a terrible storm, like a life-threatening storm.
That's what it was, a storm. I don't know why I thought he was getting attacked.
And he entered the Avatar state unknowingly to save himself, and it froze him in this ice ball.
Yeah. Cocoon of ice. Yeah.
Which sank to the bottom of the ocean.
Gotcha.
And so he was frozen in there for 100 years because he ran away, Tony. Not because...
I thought he was mid-battle and was like, then because I knew he was in a life-threatening situation because it was his avatar. Because that was his other thing too. He doesn't realize he's 100 years old. He also never intended to be frozen for that long. It was literally like
He thinks it's the next morning. He woke up. Yeah.
He's like, I'm dying. I have to do something.
Yeah.
Avatar state took over. He went into the cocoon of ice. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's where I thought he was getting attacked, but I forgot it was that shameful. Not shameful, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That emotional for him.
Yeah.
So, wow.
So they embark.
There's the first 7 minutes of episode 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much episode 1. But they decide that the 3 of them have to go on this journey.
Yeah, because they had to now. Yeah.
Katara realizes it's an opportunity for her to learn waterbending,
Yeah.
and she has to take it.
Because book 1 is literally them coming up to the northern.
Yeah, and Sokka has to go because he's the big brother. Which,
Yep.
if you think about it, leaves not that
Southern
Water Tribe like completely vulnerable, but
What's the next male? Like 7
yeah.
years old? Yeah.
But without the Avatar and without a waterbender, like who's gonna attack them?
Yeah.
Unless
what's the
it's just
point?
to kill them, right? It's just a bunch of old ladies and little kids.
Yeah.
So-
no point.
Yeah. Graham thinks they're relatively safe. You know,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
one's coming here anymore.
I like she's playing the odds.
Yeah.
She's a Vegas gal.
Yeah.
She's going, there's no
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
So
We got nothing to give him.
basically, so his mission. So Aang doesn't know his mission.
Yeah.
He just doesn't believe them that there's no more avatars, or no more.
Airbenders.
So
Which makes sense. I mean, come
yeah,
on.
he's just like,
That's,
I can't. I need
impossible.
to see it. I need to see it. So they go to the Southern Air Temple, where he's from, and he sees all these dead airbenders, and he sees Monk Gyatso dead, his skeleton. Infuriates him, goes in the Avatar state, and
Dang.
they have to calm him down. But he
Yeah.
realizes, basically, he gets a vision from Roku that he needs to come talk to him at his temple in the Fire Nation, and Roku says, you have like 7 or 8 months to master all four elements,
Yep.
when all the other avatars have had like 30 years.
Yeah.
You have 8 months, and you have to defeat the Fire Lord, otherwise the world's doomed.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah. So imagine being 12, and literally the fate of the world is
in your hands.
in 8 months.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, we should say like, well, wait, why is there a time period? I do remember this. There was a certain celestial, was it the moon or the sun? But it was eclipse that happens where like the Fire Nation gets like super yoked, and then that was their plan to finally wipe everyone out. They're like, we're gonna get so powerful that's why it's in, right? Was that the whole shtick?
you're pretty close. An eclipse actually takes away the fire benders, but it's a comet. It's
Comet!
super big. It's called
Oh.
Sozin's Comet. The last time it came, Sozin used it to wipe out the airbenders.
Oh, 100 years, which makes sense. It's cyclical, right?
Yep.
100-year comet.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he was.
Centurion comet, or
Yep.
whatever they
So
call
he
it.
was going to use it to wipe out the water tribe, Northern Water Tribe, and the Earth Kingdom.
Dude, how could you feel Avatar Roku being like, hey, dog, FYI, my best friend betrayed me but killed everybody, killed all of your people.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you're 12. Ugh. But also, learn all these elements in 4 months
Yeah.
or 8 months and get wrecked. You know what I mean?
Good luck. Yeah.
Good luck. Yeah.
We all had 30+ years to learn all 4. You have 8 months.
Yeah, we got you, right? You know what I mean? Like, there's some spirit world
Yeah.
nonsense we could do. Yeah.
So Aang, being the Avatar, his airbending training was sped up. So he's got arrow tattoos, meaning he's an airbending master. You only get that if you've mastered airbending.
Yeah, I did remember. I remember his airbending was like
Yeah. So airbending's done.
bing, bang, boom.
So the reason there's only 3 seasons, season 1, it's called Book 1, Water. That's him learning waterbending. Mm-hmm. Book 2, Earth. That's him learning earthbending. And then Book 3, Fire.
Book 2 is the best.
Yeah.
I love Book 2.
Yeah.
They're all good. By the way, I do want to mention, of all my fond memories of the show, I don't remember a single dud episode.
Oh yeah. Well. Yeah. There's.
I don't remember a
yeah,
single one. It was poppy. It was they covered everything you'd want. And whenever there was like an episode where it wasn't about the element, it was about the spirit world, and you're like, yes,
The Spirit World episodes were cool.
bangers, dude.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Mortis episodes in Clone Wars. Whenever they do like the
Yeah.
whole like go deeper in the internal force, you're like, ugh, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, oh, it's so clean. I love that. I love when they go deeper in those kind of
Oh,
things.
yeah.
But yeah, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's just the intro of the show. I highly recommend watching it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some post-show projects that have occurred. Like I said, I'll do it in order. The first one was it's called The Last Airbender, and that's the movie that came out in 2010 by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh yeah,
Tony,
M. Night Shyamalan. That's who it was.
Tony, me, Paul, and Joe, and Ben, went to the midnight premiere for this movie.
First off, Mark, sorry. I hate to interrupt you like this.
Okay.
I'm going to out my mom right now.
All right.
Mom, I love you and I respect you. But also, I'm going to call my mom out. Mark, short of lying, stealing, begging, and killing or whatever, I begged my mom always to go to the midnight showing with you guys. Your parents were always cool with it.
Yeah.
Because you guys went to your Harry Potter showings.
Because Ben took us. Yeah.
Yeah. And you also went to whatever. And I couldn't get that. I could not get my mom to agree to go to a midnight showing. Until I literally, to this day, I've only been to one midnight showing my entire life. And that was episode 7, part 2 of Harry Potter. And that was with you.
Oh, yeah.
And Paul and everybody.
Yeah.
But I will never forget, you brought this up. I begged, because you said you were going to go to this movie.
Yeah.
And I remember, because we were 6th grade, 7th grade?
Well, let's see. 2010 would have put
Oh, no,
us
no,
at
20...
8th. So it'd be summer. So we had just
7th grade.
Yeah. So I had graduated 8th grade. You were 7th grade, yeah.
Oh, shoot. I forgot. We're a year off.
Yeah,
Year
yeah.
off in school.
Yeah.
Not a year off in heart. But yeah, a year off in school. So I remember I was begging my mom. You guys probably, by the way, you probably didn't even invite me, but I was like, dude, I can. There's a spot on
Yeah.
me. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? Come on, you know. But sorry, you unlocked a core memory, because I remember for like a week, I begged my mom. I never saw that movie. To this day, I never saw it. I begged my mom, because you guys, which
Yeah.
you're probably going to tell me, you're going to go on with the story. I'm sorry. So,
Yeah.
Joe, please continue the story. I never ended up watching that show.
So we went, okay, set the scene, Tony.
Yeah.
4 brothers.
That was my scene. Yeah.
4 brothers. Core memories with this show.
Mm-hmm.
Went to go see the midnight showing of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Left so utterly disappointed.
Because, by the way, they built this thing up.
Oh, yeah.
Can you remember all the Nickelodeon trailers for this show?
I know, yeah.
And it like just ended too. Like this was like, no, this is a couple years after it ended.
It's like 2 years after.
Yeah. So you were just dying for something.
Yeah.
And it was the first like live action other than Dragon Ball Z. I think Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z is the only other one that had a big live action, which that one crapped the bed too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you walked
Just
out.
everything was bad. How they like bended was bad. Like that was like it took
CGI.
It took them 15 minutes to move a pebble when Aang could just like. You know.
Oh, okay. And
They
it was
also called
Avatar
them Aang, which I guess if you look back at it was them trying to be more traditional to like, you know,
the Asian
the monks,
influences,
yeah,
everything
and
like
stuff like
but,
that.
But still, the show literally says Aang. Why on earth?
Yeah,
like-
would you? Yeah.
Oh, by the way, fun fact: Snow White is the only other movie to beat out Dragon Ball Z in negative. It's literally it's Snow White, Dragon Ball Z, and like
Yeah,
Avatar, which
yeah.
is hilarious to
Yeah.
think about. That like
It just
these are
bombed.
The
It
threes.
was just so bad. It wasn't true to the because it only covered the first season. Wasn't true.
Yeah,
to
it
what
was
he
a
took.
book one, right?
He took way more creative liberties than he should have, and
yeah.
just an all around disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Plus, so the 2 creators of the show, Dante DiMartino. Let's see here if I make sure. Michael Dante DiMartino and
Okay.
Brian Konietzko.
By the way, Dave Filoni was a creative influence on the show, but he wasn't a producer.
Yeah.
He's a storyboard
Yeah.
exec, whatever.
But those two
Denounced it.
are well, they were not a part of it. So
Oh,
so therefore bad, right?
I didn't even know they weren't even a part of it. Who accepted that?
Right.
Wait, did they not have the rights?
So they must have sold the rights to whatever, I don't know what
Oh,
production company that M. Night
come
Shyamalan was working on, but
Dang.
so that was just a bummer.
Yeah, it's
we
a
were
huge
sad.
bummer. But I
So-
never watched it because you guys came back. I'll
Yeah.
never forget. We were probably playing like Battlefront or something in your basement. I remember all of you guys were like, "That was the biggest piece of crap I've ever seen in my entire life."
Don't
And
recommend
sitting
it.
back there and being like, "Oh," as a kid, just like, "Oh."
Yeah. I'm never gonna watch it again. Don't recommend it.
I've never seen it, so maybe I'll watch it. But I remember it was even like,
Yeah, not good.
I don't think they showed it in theaters for that long. I think it was one of those like that big of a flop where they're like, "Dude, we can't."
Yeah,
Back when like there was enough real estate where like movies were kind of coming in and out, they're like, "Dude, we can't keep this thing going. It's not producing any money."
So and then we went 2 years with no content, and then the creators worked with Nickelodeon again to come out with The Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go into like a deep dive of that, but that's about Avatar Korra, who is the Avatar after Aang. So Aang had died. This was set like 70 years after the show, after Avatar the Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Republic City. It's like the new capital where delegates from all 4 nations are there. She has to learn... So she can't learn air. She learned water from Katara. She learned earth from, no name, of fire from no one, but she can't learn air. No one can teach her air, so her only teacher is Aang's son, Tenzin, who now, him and his kids are the only airbenders. Because Aang and Katara had 3 kids. Tenzin, the airbender, Kaya, the waterbender, named after Katara's mom, and Boomy, who's a non-bender.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering,
Squib.
it's like, wait, if you had a Avatar as a parent, what dominates? Is it the airbending? Like, could they learn any of the bending?
Well, and so Korra had a lot of faults.
Yeah.
I
By the way, I
still-
think I watched the first season of Korra. I don't think I went past.
Not nearly as good as The Last Airbender. Still recommend watching it. There's 4 seasons. There's an aspect to it that I saw in Boruto, the show after Naruto.
Yeah.
So you have Naruto and you have Aang, these strong central characters.
Yep.
They move mountains. They're like good people. They save their villages, their nations or whatever.
Yeah.
But them as a dad, so like Naruto's Hokage and he kind of neglects his son.
Yeah.
Aang was Avatar, and his whole purpose after defeating the Fire Nation was to rebuild the Air Nation. So Tenzin,
But you should have a biological uphill swing because
well,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
So
Yuck. Yeah.
he spent, like Tenzin, it thinks Aang was the best dad in the world, But his 2 younger siblings were like, Dad was absent from our lives because he only focused on you and the Air Nation.
Because he was the only airbender.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah. And so there's a whole episode of like Tenzin like, why don't you love Dad as much as me? And they're like, well, we love Dad, but he really wasn't in our life, you know? Yeah. So
he hyperfixated on you because you were the next of kin.
So it was cool because it like
It was
humanized
deeper.
Aang.
Yeah. Which it's always good to see that. Don't get me wrong. There's always like a solid, piece of media where, these people can't be totally perfect. You know what I mean? They can't be like the Mary Sue where like they just have every ability all the time. It's like there's faults there. You got to find them.
Yeah. So that ran from 2012 to 2014.
Wow.
The last 2 seasons, actually, because they had low viewership on Nickelodeon, they were only on Nickelodeon.com.
I did not know that.
So, But now,
Ouch, by the way. Ouch.
Yeah.
That's
but I think both, I don't know for sure, but Paramount has like a deal with Nickelodeon, and I think both of them you can watch on Paramount Plus.
okay.
So,
Wow, by the way, now thinking back to it, how much that has to hurt a little bit. Because back in the day, we didn't have streaming services. We couldn't choose to watch stuff. So literally people are like, I would rather turn off my TV or watch a channel I'm like half interested in instead of watching the show is, ugh, ow.
Yeah.
That's more harsh, I would think.
So the only other project that's been released as far as movie and TV shows so far is the Netflix 2024 live-action TV show. Now, I haven't watched it yet, but I believe your wife and Paul have watched it.
Jenna did.
I know
she said she liked it.
I know Paul did not like it because Paul's hard to please.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude.
I haven't watched it yet.
I love
It's on my
Paul.
list.
I respect Paul. I think Paul and I are more online with that. Not like we're both hard to please, but I think Paul and I are a little different depending on what aspects we're looking at. But we're both very much like, dude, you are touching something holy.
Yeah.
There's a reverence there. Be careful with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like our apprehensions right now with all the Harry Potter remake. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, dude, you guys are touching, like you guys are handling a stick of dynamite. You can make this into a firework and it's going to be beautiful, or you could blow off your fingers. Please, for the love of God, make it beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think Jenna said it was good. But also Jenna's kind of one of those people where she takes content and she can literally read a book for a week. And then you're like, hey, how was that main character? Like, what was their plot and blah, blah, blah. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So she, like, flushes stuff. So she's very much like entertain me really quick. I'm good. Not like she's not a hardcore fan about anything, but she's not so, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hung up on it.
Yeah. Like, she's not going to recognize the fact that in episode 2 of the old season, they did this, and then they changed that in this new one. She's just kind of going for the overall vibe kind of deal.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, she probably enjoys a lot more media than I do because I'm a little more stringent. But yeah.
Well, we'll see. I know it was a strike for me because the 2 creators were originally going to help write it on Netflix, but
Are they not?
there was a disagreement, and they walked out before it was finished filming.
Oof. All right, never mind that.
So that was a strike for me.
First and foremost. That's a big strike.
I'm gonna watch it. So I don't know if it did well or not. Netflix is approved to do seasons 2 and 3 of it. So that means
Yeah,
it must
but
have
that
had,
always,
yeah.
you know what I mean? I always hate that approval thing because it doesn't mean a lot. It just means that it appealed to some audience. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna give it a shot. It's on my list. Whenever I get to it, I'll let you know. Maybe I'll do another report on it. But
please, yeah. I would love to hear it because I think that's the other thing too. We can move into maybe that could be an episode idea where we review some of the newer things of like that series because I'd be curious.
Yeah. So, like I said, they walked out. When that happened, Nickelodeon called the original creators again, and they decided they brokered a deal, and they opened up a division within Nickelodeon Studios called Avatar Studios. I think it's what it's called.
Oh wow!
And
so this is relatively new. I mean, 2024. I mean, it's got to be within the last year.
So I think it's called Avatar Studios, but it's going to be the home for any and all future Avatar productions with them at the helm. No questions asked,
dude. Nickelodeon,
they're doing it right.
Thank you. Can they do that more for other franchises?
Yeah.
Dude, when you see the success, that's what I'll never understand about these executives. You see the success come out of these huge franchises.
Yeah.
Let them cook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Tony. You know what I mean?
Just go, you need this check? How much do you want? And go, yes. And then give it to them. You're going to make 10x. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
God, if I had $100 million, that'd be the easiest way to make $200 million. Like, here you go. Dave Filoni, here's a blank check. Fill it out. I don't care. You know what I mean? You're going to double your money, But,
yeah.
And then, of course, I wonder if Dave Filoni's going to be a part of it. Probably not. He might be too Star Wars.
Too busy with,
yeah.
Maybe as a consultant, maybe, but... Yeah.
But, yeah, Dave Filoni, that was like his stomping grounds on all this stuff. It wasn't like the first thing. I don't know if that was his first thing, but it was like really early on in his career that really got him into, and that's what got him into the Clone Wars because he had that background experience with Avatar. Mm-hmm.
So, because of that, they've got 2 announced projects, Avatar Studios.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
First one is called The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. Okay. It's an animated, I think it's a movie, but I'm not quite sure. But it's going to debut January of 2026. It's here coming up. And it's about the adult life of Aang and his friends. Because in Korra, we didn't get Aang. We didn't get Sokka.
Oh, they all died. Kataro's still alive.
Kataro's still alive. Toph is still alive. And Zuko, briefly. I mean, he's still alive, but we only got to see him
They're
for
really
like
going off the statistics. Women last longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, because I'm like, I want to see adult Sokka.
So bad.
Yeah. So this is going to, check a box for a lot of
it's
Avatar
within the
fans.
nostalgia, which is brilliant because it's new content.
Yep.
But they're getting everybody excited.
Yeah.
Because it's old content. You know what I mean? They're going off of old content, but it's new.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I love it.
And then they released, so when I was doing the research yesterday, I didn't realize it was 2005, but now it's 2025, so it's the 20th anniversary. Nice. So I'm about to go binge watch Avatar again.
Which is hilarious 20 years later.
Yeah.
God, we're about to be 28. Yuck.
But they're releasing a new TV show called Avatar 7 Havens, which is, we don't have a date yet, but it's going to follow the new earthbending Avatar after Korra.
Oh, okay.
And that's going to be a TV show on Nickelodeon.
Okay, I hope they kind of figure out that Korra speed bump.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, they kind of figure out what they did right, what they did wrong, and hopefully they can kind of get after it.
Well, it's TBD, which I think they're waiting to see the success or failure of the movie that's coming out this January.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go see it.
Oh, 1,000%.
So, yeah.
Want to go to the midnight showing just to show up my mom?
I'm in.
Take
I'm
that,
in.
Mom. Yeah. I can do it now. I'm an adult.
Yeah. And then lastly, the only other thing I had was there's, like, a bunch of comics and books.
Oh, wow.
That fill in, like, the adult life of Aang and his friends and Korra. You know, there's some like Zuko specific ones. There's a bunch. I didn't list them all because there's so many.
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't even remember how it ended. Did Zuko and Katara? They were always a thing, but Katara married Aang. But I was just curious what Zuko ended up with.
So we don't know who his wife was. They
don't even. Okay, I can't remember what they ended.
We assume it's because they don't say in Korra. We know he has a daughter. We assume it's May. The goth girl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, May. Yeah.
But they don't confirm it. So.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, when I knew it was somebody, I was like, well, it was always like, will they, won't they, with Qatar and him for a little bit. It was kind of like that weird love triangle.
Yeah.
Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe I was just reading into it when I was.
There was one
watching
episode
it.
where they it was a little bit, but,
excited.
Qatar was always Aang's girl.
Oh,
Alright?
yeah, I mean, without a doubt.
yeah.
Flamio hot, man.
Yeah, right.
No.
Flamio.
Dude, the only thing, the last thing I want to add to any of this stuff. Well, first off, Mark, do you have any more notes?
That was it.
Okay.
That was it. So
My only last few comments were just the fact of remembering Avatar, looking back at it, especially memories between us. I think the biggest one was we had for a really long time. That was a common phrase between us. We would always flame you hot, man. Stay flaming. That was a big. Paul said that a lot. I remember that being part of like our core group of friends. We'd say that a bunch.
Do you remember why?
Yeah, because they were in Fire Nation.
There's an episode. Aang is pretending to be a Fire Nation kid, and that's all they say.
Yeah. Because he had the hair.
Hotman? Yeah,
Flamey Hotman.
Flamey-yo.
It's
like, what's up, dude? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that one, and the other one was the Boulder. The Boulder is such like
Boulder.
The Boulder is conflicted.
Yeah.
The Boulder is no longer conflicted when Toph hits him. Then the other one was like the fact that Toph knew. Two more. The fact that Toph knew that one guy was cheating in the cup game because he was throwing it in his sleeve because she could tell like it left the table based on the vibrations. I remember when they animated that, I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like the echolocation thing, what they used to him. The only other one was the curved sword guy. I don't remember, but you remember that sword that curved up? He had like two blades and they curved up. They're like J swords, and he used them to like zip line. I remember looking at that and being like, dude, what is this guy? And whatever he's doing, I'm selling. Like, I'm buying. Like, this guy's sick. But no, those are my big Avatar walkaways. Other than every single episode of the Spirit World was a banger.
Oh, yeah.
But those were my big ones. Do you have any big, like, on your end, like, when you think back, are there any, like, big moments like that where you're like, dude, this is...
Well, I mean... The finale's awesome, but I'm not going to use that answer because, of course, it's going to be awesome, right?
Yeah. Well, that was the one where you always are nervous when they do such a good job with the show. Are they going to close it well?
Yeah.
And Avatar closed it so well.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They're great. So it's a good, I think it's a fine answer.
No, so I'm not going to use it as the answer, but my favorite was Rennie with, Iroh was awesome. I mean, like I said, he was my favorite character. He just had so much wisdom. And his like metamorphosis, like all he wanted to do was own his tea shop in Ba Sing Se. Once they got there, he didn't want to leave, but he knew he had to fight a higher cause, or like his mentorship with Zuko, right, and all that stuff.
Leaves of the Vine when he's singing that, honoring his son, I was like, oh.
So because his son who died. So Iroh actually has two voice actors.
What?
So Mako and then Greg Baldwin. Mako died shortly after that episode. And Greg Baldwin he did like the last season. But fans ask him to do like lines from the show, whatever. He'll do any line you want, but he will not sing that song. He said that's reserved for Mako because it was so powerful and like it resonates with people.
I didn't even realize.
He says he won't do it.
I love that. It's a good reverence toward the other actor, but dude, I didn't realize there were two voice actors. That's crazy.
I mean, so if you're looking for it and you listen for it, you can hear it, but otherwise you wouldn't know. So I'm sorry if I just shattered.
Probably a little bit, yeah. Well, it wasn't like, you know what I mean, like, Dumbledore's, but you were visually seeing two different actors, so maybe if there's a visual component, you would have noticed that a lot quicker, but...
Yeah. So actually, at the end of that episode, it says, like, for Mako.
Oh, really?
And he's the voice that died, yeah. That was, the last thing he recorded was that song.
That's super sad. Not to diminish that, but on a lighter note, too... The song that really sticks in my head is Secret Tunnel. We still sing that.
Secret Tunnel.
Yeah, we still get on that one every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's a classic.
You remember Sokka's poem? Like, he was just, like, free versing. He's like, I'm Sokka. And I'm like, I forget how it goes, but it was like a certain type of, like, rhythmic poem.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't know what he was doing, but it worked. And then he went off the rhythmic, and then like these girls like threw him out, you know, because he didn't know what he was doing. But it was just like
he like stumbled on the right answer, and then kind of went off it.
Yeah.
That and the only one that I remember too was it's right before the library episode, but they Momo and Sokka eat the cactus fruit, and it puts them into like this crazy state.
Yeah.
But
No,
no, those are like the
that's
only
good.
big ones that I kind of like.
Omashu, that episode's awesome.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But those are the big ones. Yeah, I don't know. Was there any other like big quotes or anything out of that one where you remember? Because I think I said all mine.
The
like,
Cabbage Man. I mean, he's classic.
My cabbages. It was like the My Leg from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon always had a one guy that would do.
Well, they honored
My
him
leg.
in Korra because there was a Cabbage Corp, and there's like a statue of the Cabbage Man. Cause
Oh, really?
He has his whole business there. Yeah.
Oh wow! So he went business. He went.
Well, his descendant did. Yeah. It was like his son
okay.
or grandson. Yeah.
Wow, biggest cabbage empire of Omashu or Ba Sing Se?
Well, it's Republic City is where it is in Korra.
Oh, okay.
It's like.
Well, was he in Ba
Washington,
Sing
DC.
Se or was he Omashu?
Well, both. He was a traveling cabbage salesman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, this is also last deep cut. Now it's coming to my head. But I remember they used rotten eggs to figure out where the air was leaking.
Yes, I think
Remember
that was
that?
in the Northern Air Temple. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, if you ever smell rotten eggs, you know gas is leaking. Because like it was like an odorless gas that could like flame and kill you.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how do we solve this? We're like, oh, just put decaying eggs back there. If you smell rotten eggs, you know there's a leak. I remember being like, dude, this show's engineering.
Next level.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like, what the heck? They're plumbers, basically.
Yeah.
You know?
And then he invented a new glider. It's got a snack compartment.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like when they showed blueprints and they're actually like going through. Yeah, a classic. But no, dude, Mark, I totally appreciate you spending time on this. This is huge. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Avatar. It's so much fun. And yeah, it was one of those childhood shows that I haven't revisited. And it's one of those things where, like, I'm super excited. This is one of those shows, like, I'll definitely show Peter as he is growing up, being like, yeah, this is perfect. Because there's some of those old shows that you're like, yeah, we could really bond at a level. And we watch the show and be pretty excited about it. So I'm hoping that, as he gets older, if he, gets interested in it, we'd love to watch that. And maybe that's when I get my big Avatar kick.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that's when the movie's successful.
Yes.
Then they make
the
more,
new
and
TV
then
show.
we've got hook, line, and sinker. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm wondering where a lot of these franchises are going to go because some of them are, fighting and doing some great stuff, and I'm wondering they are going to be in Peter's life or not. You know what I mean? Just in the next, when I say Peter's life, I mean the next like 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Versus some of these other ones where I'm like, dude, they kind of need to take the cow behind the barn a little bit, like shoot it and kill it. You know what I mean? Like be done with it. So I'm wondering if Avatar's gonna have this big resurgence. I didn't know that they're planning all this stuff. So wow, this is gonna be huge. I mean,
Yep.
I really do hope they get their feet underneath them. Hope they do a really good job. And I hope they just execute because that'd be huge for a franchise. I mean,
Right, and if that works, I would imagine we're gonna see like Disney and some other things do that. So maybe, I guess they have Lucasfilm. Disney has Lucasfilm for the Star Wars stuff, right? But if it, I don't know why they don't think it would work yet. But like, you're the two creators of the original show, and it was a hit. You guys just cook.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Please,
So-
just go in your corner.
And I hope this just makes Disney go, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, you cook.
Please. Oh my
know?
gosh. And same thing with the HBO with oh my gosh, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Same logic. I mean, I cannot stress these writers are brilliant. They already struck gold. They can strike gold.
Yeah.
Don't you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
Get your hand out of the cookie jar.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
You know what I mean? It's the classic. Like everyone wants a piece of it because if it's successful, then they can say yes, I was a part of this, which I understand. But I mean, at the same part, it's like, dude, just. What do you want to be, recognized or successful? Because honestly, you know what I mean? You're going to print money if you're going to,
Right.
believe in your people and let them roam. But,
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, Mark, dude, I totally appreciate it. This was huge. I love this. I always
Yeah.
love these new beginnings. It's always so much fun. And this is more nostalgic for me,
Yes.
coming back on it. But yeah, to have a guru kind of guide us through, that was a lot of fun. So for both me and the listeners, this is fantastic. So
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Please reach out with question, mix-ups, what-if ideas, any other Avatar questions or thoughts, we'd love to hear them.
Excitement on them about the new shows too,
Yeah.
or maybe where they could go. Like, what would you want to see? I think that'd be kind of a cool
Yeah.
thing where, like, yeah, they're focusing on the old friends and they're going to build that movie, but like, what are some big parts in that movie that you'd want to see? Right? Like, what are those big Easter eggs that you would? Maybe it's a rotten egg. They go back to the northern
A rotten Easter egg. Yeah.
It's literally an egg, but
Yeah.
but yeah, no, and if you do want to reach out with any of those what ifs, mix ups, or comments, or anything like that, please reach out on Instagram or X at the Live Laugh Lore Pod. And then you can also email us at the livelaughfloorpod@gmail.com. That's livelaughfloorpod@gmail.com.
Thanks, guys.